Good evening and welcome to Dumb SEO Questions, episode 159. Each week we meet here to answer the questions asked on the SEO Questions community on Google+. With us tonight we have Masataki Wasa. Masataki is the webmaster of wasaweb.net. He's also a Google top contributor on the AdSense and also the Google Plus help community. Rob Mars is an AdWords aficionado. He is based in the Netherlands. Masataki is in the UK. Rob is also a Google top contributor on the search, webmaster, and also the AdWords community in the Dutch language. And you can find Rob at marketbiz.nl, marketbizzNL.nl, I should say, and Masataki's website, wasaweb.net, net? No. Oh, God. Yes, .net. And Tim Capper is CEO of OnlineOwnership.com. He's a conversion rate optimization specialist and proud to call himself an SEO. You can find Tim at OnlineOwnership.com. Tim's also a Google top contributor in the Google My Business community. All right, our first question tonight is problems arise due to linking mobile and desktop websites. Nagaraj Gouda is asking how to link his mobile website to his desktop website. He's saying anybody suggests sitemaps, please let me know the problems which might arise due to linking both websites. There was an answer given on sitemaps from Ducal de Leon, and Dave Elliott also pointed out canonical links and rel alternate. Comments? While you guys are gathering your thoughts, I'd point out that linking a mobile to the desktop version is, well, it's not complex, but if you don't do all of the steps, if you don't do it properly, you'll not only disappoint your users, maybe frustrate them, but you'll also you can also damage your rankings if you don't implement it in such a way as so that Googlebot can easily crawl it and figure out what's going on. Very popular these days to use responsive design, but I think a standalone mobile site in some cases is definitely the best choice. You guys find the same?
Sorry, what was that? Are you saying responsive is better?
No, I'm saying that responsive is popular, but there are cases where using an M.dot version of your site is a much better idea.
Could you elaborate a little bit on that? Because I think with modern smartphones, websites should be as close to the desktop version
Yeah.
whenever possible, because that sets the recognition. People search on their phone and buy on their desktop.
Well, not in
Oh,
all cases. I mean, that's popular too. But like, say, for argument's sake, somebody booking a taxi, they're not going to go home and get onto their desktop. They're not even home yet.
No, they don't.
There's always an edge case, Rob.
But I think they use apps for that.
Well, true. But there are issues of flexibility, like for argument's sake, the desktop version for images can use large format heavier images, knowing that the bandwidth on the desktop version, or people using a desktop version generally, will have better bandwidth. Whereas the mobile version, really needs to be stripped right back, and this is a way of providing a better user experience. I'm not saying that the two sites can't be identical, but there are many issues in serving up a website, serving up a web page. Yeah, I think there are many cases where an M dot version is better. And responsive design, I mean, it's not bad. I mean, it's pretty good, but it's not perfect, is it?
No, it's not perfect. Operating two different sites is also not perfect.
But they don't need to be two different sites. They only need to be served from two different servers. I mean, you can have the identical sites, absolutely identical, and they can be maintained from the same CMS. But it's just simply that the mobile site is served from a different domain.
Well, you
When I say different subdomain, I should have said something wrong. Go ahead.
No, you thought a lot more about it than I did.
Okay. I'm supposed to be just answering the questions. Asking the questions, I should say.
Well, after 3 years, you should know all the answers by now.
and that, and God.
How many more dumb questions can you ask, Jim?
I knew Tim Capper when he was just a KGB agent. All right, we move on from this one.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay. All right. Our next. Oh dear, I certainly don't know the answer to this one, Rob. This is from Ranu Jane. She said, "Hi folks, I'm using JavaScript on my website, and I want it to be crawled properly without using method name equals fragment content bang." Yeah, go ahead. Anybody, save me.
No, mate, can't help you on this one.
It's not in my job description, Ranu. I'm sorry. and I don't. It's more of a developer's question. If Dave Elliott is about, he would answer this. Yeah, I'm sorry, Ranu, we failed you, let you down. Please consider asking us again, and I'll try to have somebody on board to give you an answer on that one. Ranu asked another question which we should be able to help with. She said, "Hi, I'm working on a travel website where people can select the destination, whom they want to travel with, number of days and month, and their plan is to save all of these search results that are generated dynamically in our database and would like to rank them. To avoid the space issue and load on the website, we've decided to create a file where we'll give the link to those dynamically generated pages. For example, file 1, I'm just going to wait till it comes up, Mumbai.htm, Delhi.htm, Chennai.htm, and Hyderabad.htm. The above file will be present on the website, and when the user clicks on Mumbai.htm, it will take the user to the dynamically generated page, which will be kept somewhere in the database. My question is, can the search engine crawl those dynamically generated pages? Another question is related to the URL structure. Is the below URL SEO friendly? And she gives an example of http://travel.com/mumbai/family-infants/wildlife-heritage/5364 ABS. We are adding this ID to make the pages unique. Thanks in advance.
Well, that's one heck of a URL. It obviously shows how deep these sections are going within your site, and I would probably look at trying to restructure. You know, if your URLs are going that deep within the site, you know, it may not be discovered as often or visited as often by Googlebot. On the flip side, on the other side of it, if you know, the numbers on the end aren't absolutely ideal, but if it's accessible via, you know, certain sections or internal links, or, you know, and the parameter query page is properly canonicalized, it's not a problem. You know, Googlebot can figure these things out and understand these things. But my only concern is with the depth of that URL on the page. You know, I would probably look at, you know, maybe restructuring the site depending on the, you know, on the depth of your landing pages and internal pages from there. But apart from that, no, it's fine. You know, Googlebot can figure these things out as long as you correctly internally link, as long as, you know, if they are parameter pages with parameter queries, as long as they're properly canonicalized and things like that. So the actual URL isn't really going to make or break something, but, you know, as long as you handle it properly.
Thank you, Tim. Anybody else? Because I see Google published a blog today saying that if two pages on your site are duplicate, and Google will choose the one which has the shorter URL. I reckon that's a clue that all other things being equal, because Google looks at pages, not sites, it might be that if your content's equal to another page, if your URL is shorter, maybe it's an advantage. I don't know. Who knows? You go mad thinking of these things. Who's any other comments on this for Ranu Jane? I'd like to point out that go on.
I was wondering what would be in the page if there was nothing dynamically generated. Because the Googlebot doesn't make choices like days of stay or people or whatever. So, or did I misunderstand it?
No, you didn't, and I wonder about the value of the content too. I mean, who really is going to be searching for things like the combination of you know, the number of days or the carrier that they travel with, they choose to travel with. It's not really a set of combinations that, you know, might be likely to generate something which would be a landing page for a search query, is it?
Yeah, but what would be in the Mumbai page, the standard one? Will there be a standard one?
Well, from the question, let me have another look at it. But she said that it will have the destination. Well, that'll be Mumbai.htm. The carrier, number of days that they'll be away, and the month. I don't know why that they'd be useful to rank.
No, but if the basic Mumbai HTML page doesn't make sense, then it won't be valued very much.
Yeah, I see what Rob's saying, because essentially there are different combinations, right? There are different possible combinations and permutations. So it is like having a search engine result being indexed, provided that Googlebot can crawl it, which is questionable. Because it wouldn't know how to generate those dynamically generated pages, unless there are options saying, you know, Mumbai, how many people, there are links to that, which would sort of generate a pro forma pages.
Yeah, but she writes, to avoid space issues and load on the website, we decided to create a file where we will give the link to those dynamic generated pages. How do they give the link? If you need to put in something before you get the link, then Googlebot won't see it. And if he sees it through the sitemap, he won't value it because there are no links to it.
Yeah, that sounds odd, because so is there a static page with links to all those different combinations, possible combinations? So let's say if I want to find from Mumbai so many people, mode of transport, whatever it is, then there is that particular page already there that had been generated before. It's linked from a particular page, therefore that generated page has an URI that Google can crawl. Is that the idea? I'm not. I'm getting lost. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm also. But my question is: can search engine crawl those dynamically generated pages? And I think the answer is no.
No, I think it won't usually, and I think it's only very, very, very rarely that they would try to generate something, right? They're not going to go to find a search box and then say, oh, let's put these variables in and see what happens. it's not that it never happens, I think, but it doesn't. It really doesn't happen that often. It's very rare. So
No,
what?
I'm sorry to interrupt. What they're going to do is record
Yeah.
that activity of users and then place them on that file. I think that's what she means. Is that the way you guys are reading it?
Yeah, so I think what she is doing is compiling a list of all the, or not all, or perhaps some, of the dynamic pages that had been generated by users. So that dynamically generated pages, the URI, will be valid. If you type that in, it will show up with, Mumbai, 3 people, this mode of transport, and it will come up. So, but then I'm not so sure that is really the right thing to do. I think because if you're recording all the previous possible combinations that had been searched by users, then it's going to increase and increase and increase. And is that what you really want to do?
Is it useful? Yeah. So can we sum up and say, by linking to the page, it means that Googlebot will crawl it, but whether it'll reach the index, well, I doubt that it would. And the question is, would you think the page was useful if the page, you found the page in your search result? Would you find it useful or antagonizing?
And of course, you might be burning up your crawl budget, as it were. If you have so many different URIs on your site. If you do update certain things, if there's certain things that are updated regularly, you want to make sure that those are crawled properly.
Well, the page Google only should see is a high quality Mumbai page, and then canonicalize anything dynamically to that. I would say.
Yeah. Or no index.
Or even no index.
All right, Rana Jane, I hope you found that useful, and I'm sorry we couldn't answer that previous question for you. Okay, this one is from Colin Donahue on SEO for video content. He wants to know how much SEO difference would there be in hosting videos on your site, in other words, streaming them from your server, hosting on YouTube, and hosting on Vimeo. Vimeo has VOD, which has great appeal. What is VOD, guys?
Video on demand? I don't know.
Ah. Well, look, the bit that I chip in from the point of view of dumbseoquestions.com, which is where we archive all of these recordings and questions, I can see an SEO advantage in hosting and streaming videos from your own site. The advantage I see is from a better user experience. I say that only because hosting I haven't tried hosting on Vimeo, but hosting on YouTube, we have a report function on there and regularly get complaints about the video not starting or starting in the wrong place, which is not really YouTube's fault. It's just the difficulty in matching up the history on a user's computer and so on. But if you're really concerned about SEO difference on a video, I think the first thing you should be doing is what's the word I'm searching for, Rob? Transcribing. Yeah, putting a transcript of each video on your site, so a Googlebot has something to munch on.
Yeah, I see in his last remark that his videos are private, so I don't understand the SEO question.
Okay, let me see. Edwin Yonk made a great comment in the SEO questions community on Colin's question. He said, keep in mind that the search on YouTube is huge. And I'm not sure of the actual stats, but I think about 75% of our viewing actually occurs on a YouTube page, either the actual event page or the channel page. So that's something to keep in mind. And yes, I see his comment there at the bottom. The videos would be private, not searchable. Hmm.
So we would like to be found, but you can't see it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Colin, we'd like to talk some more about this. If you could re-ask this question for next week, but we're puzzling over how the videos would be private, and yet you want to optimize them for search. You don't want them searchable, but you're concerned about search engine optimization. If you can clarify that for us, we'll try harder. I see Tony McCreath gave a good answer on the SEO questions community. I thank all of our forum heroes for the great work that they do through the week. All right, let's move on to the next. Question from Marty Eigner on the last call date. What's the best tool to check the last time that Google crawled a URL? Is there a better tool than the Google cache? In case that was obscure, Marty, you know that you can click the down arrow and look at the cached version of the page, and that always has the date that the URL was last crawled.
I think those tools mentioned, just check that. Could give you a nice list of last visited URLs or something. I haven't checked them, but
I haven't either. Okay, let's move on from Marty's question. And I'm sorry, Marty, we can't give you a better answer, but I really don't think you'd find a better one than Google's cache. Any suggestions for a good article about content strategy? It's a question from Duchelle de Leon.
isn't that a strange question?
Yeah, right. So if I was looking at an article on content strategy, firstly, like what Thomas replied there, sort of long search queries. I would certainly split that out between so you're looking at a content strategy. Now, content strategy should be based upon your marketing strategy also. You know, whether it be an e-commerce site, whether it be you know, a B2B, a B2C, everybody's got dips and troughs within within their year. So, for example, I would take, you know, an example of your marketing strategy. So, let's say it's an e-commerce site. I would look at seasonal fluctuations in terms of Mother's Day, Father's Day, birthday gifts, Christmas, you know, that kind of stuff. List out what your marketing strategy for those particular periods are. Then say, right, so how do we look at our content strategy to bolster the marketing strategy? Because the two need to work hand in hand. And then say, right, okay, so we're looking at Mother's Day gifts. And this is how we would develop our content strategy around Mother's Day gifts. So keyword research around Mother's Day gifts. Split that out into the products that you list and the products that you sell, and obviously, you know, dates, etc. And then you would look at, so these are our short tail keywords to do with Mother's Day. And then how can we expand on those within long-term search queries, and balanced also based upon would our, you know, does it fit our funnel? So, for example, one might be Mother's Day jewelry, which if you're a chocolate company, you obviously need to expand on your keyword research. And then once you've narrowed that down, then you say, right, okay, so how are we going to, these are our short-term queries, these are our longer-term queries. How are we going to take these now and look at, in terms of content that our users will want to read and enjoy, but also bolster our long-term, you know, our initial marketing, because everything is down to marketing. You couldn't just say, oh, I want 10 articles on chocolate, I want 10 articles on Mother's Day, I want 10 articles on, everything's got to be systematic. You can't, you know, there's no point publishing a like, let's say, you know, there's no point publishing something at the wrong time of the year, which isn't going to do anything towards what people are searching for at that particular time of the year. Now, of course, you may have an evergreen kind of thing without actual seasonal sort of stuff. So let's say it's a B2B, but still, your content strategy should be based upon what that particular business website wants to particularly market or push. So, you know, that's your first thing. It's when you're looking at something, it's like, okay, so we're doing well in our A boards, but you guys really want to focus in your signage printing. So right, so this is so rather than having a whole marketing strategy, this is what you singularly want to devote yourself to for the next sort of 4 months. This is your priority because it's a new product, and you want people to uptake on it because it's also got a great profit margin. So then, rather than having a massive marketing strategy, you've got one for the next 6 months. So then use that in your article on how to research that, keywords, long tail, does it fit within our actual customer base? And when I say that, there's no point printing an article which has got nothing to do with what the users or the customer base is going to read. So, for example, if you're a B2B, you're a signage printer, you're not going to write about writing a sign for, a home or a thing, or you're going to write specifically targeted to businesses who you want to sell that service to. So that is what I'd want to see. I'd want to see, I think, from a content strategy for a business or an online business, differentiating the two avenues that you would work your way down. So if they're e-commerce and sell all things which are seasonal, I'd want to see, from a business's point of view, how do I even think of where do I start? And then if you start with your seasonality and your marketing strategy, work your way through into researching that, and then work your way into then brainstorming in terms of the content to provide a better user, that user experience in terms of the content for that marketing, or also B2B. So literally, you could create a mega research article now based upon 2 different sectors, or you could split it up. You could say e-commerce seasonalities or B2B. So there you go. You've got two articles now, 2 ideas.
I learned so much watching you guys. Gonna have to start a website, I reckon. All right. Okay. Anybody else? Giselle, I hope you found that useful. I know you would get a lot of value from Tim's comment anyway. Next is another one from Giselle. It's titled, "Using Social Media as Your Primary Link Building Tactic Won't Work." I think that's referring to the Whiteboard Friday on Moz post. Michelle said, "Do you agree or have any opinion with regards to the article from Rand Fishkin posted at Moz Whiteboard Friday that using social media as your primary or only link building tactic probably won't work?" Just give me your quick thoughts. No good asking Tim. I don't think he's ever had a quick thought, has he?
No, I don't have quick thoughts. Right, so sit down, grab a coffee, love, because this is going to be a while. No, okay. Look, primarily this article, at Seo Questions, if you've ever been through all the questions, or we've always had these things over time, and about social shares on a page versus the sort of the ranking, because this is what initially this was about. So in my point of view, and we've always, and obviously everybody's opinion, but from my point of view, we've always said that, or at least I've always said that there's absolutely no correlation, or there's no correlation and causation between the amount of social shares on a page and where it ranks. So, for example, you couldn't just go to Fiverr and grab 500, a package for 500 different social sharings. chuck it on there, and then expect that page to rank based upon social. Social signals are massively noisy. So you might have 2,000 shares on Facebook, and 200 plus ones, and a couple of LinkedIn shares, and all these other things, and 50,000 tweets. In terms of ranking, the actual ranking based upon those shares is not really going to help that page. However, when you look at, and what I think a lot of people were doing was they were looking at a page ranking, then they looked at the page itself and saw all the social shares. However, the two aren't related necessarily. A page that has natural, I'm not talking going to Fiverr and buying here, a page that has naturally a lot of shares, social shares, generally you'll always find it ranking pretty well, assuming it's evergreen. Now, the misconception is that the social shares are causing the ranking. Well, no. If something has a lot of social shares, it generally means that that is a very good piece of content that a lot of people have enjoyed and felt the need that it was good enough to actually share to their engagers, their friends, their audience on their social channels. Generally, that would be an indication that this is a great piece of content. Now, Google's not looking at the social, but from a human point of view, if that's great and good enough to be shared and liked and enjoyed, then, roughly speaking, that Googlebot is also going to find that piece of content very well written, very informative. It's probably very well structured also, and it's probably got all the bits that Googlebot likes. So in terms of social links and actual ranking, it doesn't really happen. However, what social links do is, with a lot of social shares, it does increase your chance of someone actually naturally linking back to that. I'm not talking social links. I'm talking somebody actually referencing or triggering someone's idea behind another article which they may create, and within that article say, you've got to check out this research paper, or you need to look at that, or thanks to, so social shares generally increase the likelihood of a natural share or a natural link coming back to that page. So kind of that's my idea, and I'm quite glad Rand came out and actually clarified this, because way too many people were going, oh look, I've got to just social links, and whoa, I'm going to get links that way. No, it's just not going to happen. You've got to look at the whole picture of it. I'm glad he clarified it. I would certainly never give up on your, like for example, removing social buttons off your page. But in terms of just relying on social to generate links to that content, or the hope that you might get one or two natural links coming back to that page, I probably wouldn't rely just on that. I would certainly be looking at other avenues for marketing that content, and building links naturally to that page rather than just relying on social.
Yep. Any more? Okay, let's move on to the next. Thank you, Tim. Our next is from Hina Shah, who has asked questions of us before, and the question is on SEO for an idle website. Hina asks, hi all, to do SEO for a website which has a blog is simple by following content marketing strategy. Don't know about that. But any suggestion on how to do SEO for a website which has no blog or any regular content updates? Especially some industrial websites like chemical or oil companies or more. Any suggestions?
Well, firstly, I would say, why don't they have a news section, a news or blog section on there? You know, a chemical or oil company certainly would benefit from updates, even to its you know, customer base. However, you know, let's say you don't have a news or blog. Let's take that totally out of the equation. You know, these kind of businesses, you still can have a content strategy because, you know, obviously it's a chemical and oil company. They've got business. They you know, B2B. The situation there is even their customers still need updates. So even if it's not a blog or something like that, you still need you know, you still need to produce you know, you can still produce technical reports that they will actually the customers will need or want or require. So for example, I don't know, let's say a chemical company, there's been a new update in terms of, I don't know, some kind of mixture of chemical that has now had legislation increased in terms of quantities or mixture or something to like. You know, chemical and oil companies will have a lot of tech specs, technical specifications in terms of legislation, packaging, shipping, handling, manufacturing. This could be your content strategy, even though it's not on a blog. It still goes onto your tech spec section of your site. You know, your links from that would tend to be coming from academics or people within the industry that need more information on this and generally get linked to. You could also even use research papers, research articles that the company produces. Anything like a chemical oil company has research divisions. All that research can go onto a research section, and that will certainly you know, be referenced. So just to say that just because they don't have a blog or something on there now, you certainly need to be looking at how you can increase that. And then as Trishelle goes on below, you know, you need to look at your pages, you need to look at your structure of your pages. You need to make sure that you're providing the actual information per those pages that the user or their customer wants to see or use. So yeah, definitely, if you're not working on internal structure, you need to really look at your on-page SEO if that's all you're working with. But I would certainly be saying to these clients, listen, you may think you don't have a blog or a news section, that's fair enough, but this is an avenue to produce authoritative content in our research section or our technical specification section to provide in-depth research data, which is all going to be adding to the perception of authority about your site by search engines.
Okay. Guys, I put a link in the chat. It's papenergylimited.com. So papenergyltd.com. This is a site that's been put together by a partnership including Olivia Malineur, who's a well-known Google Pluser. Olivia lives in Ghana, I think. Yeah, in Ghana. I think. I hope I'm right. But anyway, he asked me about 6 weeks ago now for advice on how to get this site to rank. And I have to confess, I've drawn a blank. I've run it in SEMrush, and it shows it's not ranking for anything. I can't find anything technically wrong with the site. There's content there which should rank, but I can't get it to appear in a search. I can bring it up in a site query, of course, but I can't get it to appear anywhere top 100. I can't see it appearing anywhere top 100. Any ideas? I just thought it was a good time to bring it up because it fits this question. At a static website, this is actually oil drilling, not oil company, but pretty close to her question, especially some industrial websites like chemical or oil companies. You're muted, Tim.
Well, this site I mean, the on page is diabolical. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean here. Oh, and it loads terribly. Okay, so right, I've landed on this. Okay, your title's terrible. I don't have the actual name of it. You've just got your actual .com. So right, we need a proper title in there. What's the business name? Pap Energy Limited hyphen oil and gas exploration. Okay, something like that. I can't click on any of these. So you say that you do subsea engineering, subsea and offshore products, gas plant solution. I can't get to that. I want that, but I can't get to that. I can't click on subsea engineering solutions. I can't get to it. So now I go up to our services, because I'm assuming it would be in there. Your services page, well, I can't find my undersea drilling thing, so let's go to your services page. Also, I mean, you've got a couple of bullet points there. Nightmare. Your service page should certainly list your services and potentially have them in boxes, a little bit of a snippet, clicking through to that particular service page. So I'm still trying to find this undersea drilling bit. So I've clicked to products. Same again, you know, these products, well, tubulars, drilling engine, that should have each have a little box, little underline, little click through to that page. I mean, all of those pages should have all of those products should have their own little page with, you know, tech spec on it. You know, drilling engineering software. Well, I want to know what drilling engineering software is available to me. I'm someone who wants to spend $1 million now on some engineering software for my platform. Well, I can't find what you're offering. Right, so it's not in services, not in products. It's not in partners, not in training, news and events, contact. Well, that's it. I can't. That's it. You've just lost me. I've got $1 million to spend on some drilling engineering software, and I can't find your drilling engineering software. I can't find the kind of software integration. I can't find the different systems that you provide. I can't find how your company goes about it. I can't find how to ask any questions on that. You know, fiber optic cables for well, umbilical, and pipeline monitoring. Okay, great. I want to spend $2 million on fiber optic cabling. I can't find it. You've just lost me. You've just lost $2 million.
Yep.
I mean, this should be seriously detailed, right? Every single one of your services and products should have an individual specific page. And I'm talking this kind of stuff. We're talking, I mean, I don't know how much it costs, but I'm taking a guess. Starts at $1 million and then works its way up. This should have massive, detailed, technical specs. It should have, you know, it should have everything on there. I should have a contact thing. I should have a contact for the engineering software division manager. I should have the, you know, because a guy who's going to spend $1 million wants to speak to the engineering software department to know if this is possible, lead times, you know, all that kind of stuff. I mean, these people, this is where that you as an SEO, right, should be speaking to your client and should have access to how they actually work and what, for example, someone phoning tubulars or wanting polymers for water flooding, what do people want to know? What, you know, how does it get delivered? Where does it work from? Where is it manufactured? Time specifications. Does it fit with international water environmental standards? Does it, you know, this is where you should be speaking to your client and saying, right, you know, a good place to start with these kind of companies is more than often than not, they've already got masses of PDF stuff that they distribute out to their oil rig suppliers, their oil rig people on new products, new testing, new equipment, new stuff. That more often than not, they've got tons of this stuff in PDFs that they generally send out, and that's what you want on the site.
Cool, Tim. That's all good advice. Rob, you were pointing out some technical issues in the chat.
Yes, there are no H1s, no titles, no meta descriptions. So I'm not sure what we'll see on the homepage, and it's quite hard to get the cache version seen or the text version because of some scripting that sends it back to the homepage. So
the site has a script on it that's avoiding Google's. Is that what you're saying? There is a script on the site?
Something like that. I don't know. If you go to cache colon pepengineeringltd.com, I don't see anything.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, that's got to be fixed.
So it's doing something. I'm not saying that's what's causing it, but I can't what Google sees at the moment quickly. I can get to the text version.
It's probably the result of a plugin that's been installed, I'd say.
Something like that.
Actually, it's CSS issue because if you look at the source of the page, you can see Google's text above doc type, but it's just not visible on the page, so it's a CSS issue.
Well, I managed now to go to the strip is one, and yeah, there's not much on the home page. It's just the menu and subsea engineering solutions, subsea and offshore gas plant solutions, oil and gas plant capacity development, and that's the content of the homepage. So there's not much to value for Google on the homepage.
Yeah, that is something, isn't it? The homepage, it's all images. It's not that it can't rank. There's nothing to rank.
No. And without a meta description, and without a title, and without H1, H2, H3. If you all add it up, I wouldn't rank if I was Google.
Mm-hmm. Right, so it needs work. Matsutake, do you have a comment on this site?
I think Tim and Rob really have pointed out the big issues and also things that can be done quite easily as well. You know, sort of the H1s to H3s, for example. I think that's sort of that can be addressed, I suppose, slightly easier than many of the points that Tim has made. You know, but that you know, I would add that you need to have things like previous successful installation or use of things, interview your customers, happy customers. You know, are you accredited by some sort of international organization? Do you have ISO number? Things like this. I mean, really, as Tim said, we're talking about big ticket purchases here. You want to make sure that the company is someone that you trust, and the website has to generate that trust, at least not lose it. And I think at the moment you would have to think, oh dear, you know, I've heard about this company, let me find more about this company, let's see what they say on their website. And when you come to this website, then you have to think, you know, you have to stand back and think, if I were the purchaser who's going to spend millions, like Tim said, am I really confident that these are the right people? And I think at the moment, I think there are issues with that. It's partly technical, but also a lot of it is about the concept. A lot of it is how you present the business, what it aims to do, what it does exactly, how are you going to sell that to the people, how are you going to get the contact. how are you going to get the first contact that's going to lead to a sale? I think those are what are the flows? Where does the website fit in? I think there are bigger questions that need to be asked and answered.
Yep. All right, I will convey all this to Olivia, and actually I'll just send you a link to this question. That'll be easy. And so you'll hear what you all have to say. All right, let's move on to the next. And Hina Shah, I hope all of that's been useful to you too. Here's one from Jenny Lowe, who provided a diagram. I'm not sure if it's visible. She said, Jenny said, hello there. My website traffic saw a massive drop-off on the 14th of August, from which it has not recovered. I didn't make any. Actually, haven't we done this question last week? Yeah, we did. Anybody recall it? Look, I'm going to pass on this, but I'm fairly sure we have it. Have answered it.
Let me look at that site quickly.
Obsidiancontent.co.uk.
Sounds familiar. Yeah, I think we did, maybe. Oh, yeah, I did my search bar. So...
Edwin gave a link to it.
Yeah, we sorted that out. And she has actually sorted out her title tag. So, yeah, no, I think we sorted it out.
Okay, we accidentally slipped that into this week's run list. So we'll pass on this one and we'll go to the next. And we've done it again, guys. We've answered all of the questions asked on the SEO questions community on Google+. I thank you for that. And also to our forum heroes that answered the questions through the week, people like Dave Elliott and Suraj Gadagay, and so many others. I see a couple of new people have popped up this week. It's really pleasing to see that coming along to help. All right, now move on to our SEO weekly news roundup, where topics of interest are posted on the SEO news community on Google+. You can post topics and we'll talk about them. This one was posted by Edwin Yong, and it was about an article, What to Do After You Hit the SEO Plateau. I'm not qualified to give advice on that because I haven't approached any type of plateau. But maybe you guys have. Anyway, there's a quote here, SEO is a journey, but after you've hit the low-hanging fruit and built your flywheel, growth becomes hard to find. Here's my guide to what's next. And there's an image. Articles like this, do you guys think that they are useful, or is it possible that they merely distract the readers from what they should be focusing on? Everybody's looking for the. I mean, one thing about Rand Fishkin, he doesn't use clickbait titles, and it's a little bit understated, which I think is very good and so on. But you know what really bores me, and it's just so relentless, are these people that come out with these this clickbait, and every day is a drama. You know, I mean, really, SEO is not really exciting. It's slow, methodical, painstaking work, in my opinion, anyway. There is no drama, but you know, we have these snake oil salesmen that you know run around with a new drama every day, it seems. But at least Rand Fishkin doesn't do that. But articles like this, you know, basically, I don't know, this is waffle to me, because who would know when you've actually hit your growth? It could well be that you're wandering along and you accidentally missed being quality reviewed, and you could remain with limp sails in the doldrums until suddenly Google does discover that you have quality content that people want to read, and all of a sudden things skyrocket. I'll never forget when ShopSafe took off, shopsafe.com.au. We'd been going along at a certain level for years, and all of a sudden we hit our straps, and about I don't know, 20 times our normal traffic overnight, and every day I thought, this can't last, and I couldn't see that we'd done nothing new. We were just doing our job, but it just, you know, it just blew us away. So how could you possibly know whether that's going to come or not? How would you know that you're going to be on a plateau? End of rant. Comments, please, guys.
Well, you could also read it as an article to broaden your SEO and not look at the obvious keywords, because that's essentially what he's saying in the article, which is, of course, logic.
I often think a lot of effort that's directed towards trying to artificially inflate SEO rankings, if it was devoted to simply producing content, they'd probably do better. Then again, what would I know? Any other comments? All right, let's move on to the next. Apple is looking for an SEO engineer. Tim Capper shared this, and it was posted from Tim Capper's share by Edwin Yonk. I'm not sure that it's that notable, given that Google advertised for an SEO engineer not so long ago. And I know Microsoft have in the past as well. We all need SEO engineers. That's the issue, isn't it? You have to help me a bit here, guys. I'm on painkillers tonight, so I'm not sure if I'm doing a good job or I might be delirious. All right, that's that covered. Let's look at the next. The negative impact of 301 redirects, a case study. This was an article from our esteemed friend Dan Petrovic, who runs Australia's leading SEO firm, Dijon SEO. dejonseo.com.au. Anybody read this article?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was sort of any particular wow, because the point of the facts was he took four articles that were not topically relevant to the pages and redirected them. Unsurprisingly, the pages tanked, actually. Well, not completely tanked, but you know, they dropped massively. I mean, I did ask Dan a couple of questions. I was quite surprised that none of those redirected pages actually appeared as soft 404s, which is a bit weird. I mean, I would have expected them to, unless the Search Console is not performing as it has done in the past. In the past, if you've redirected a page which you think may be relevant to the next one, or the one that you redirect to the target page, but it doesn't have the same contextual sort of relevance, Googlebot normally shows it as a soft 404, but Dan said none of them appeared as soft 404s, so that's a bit weird in itself. But the point is the takeaway from this is don't redirect a page which has nothing to do with another page. Don't do that. It's not going to benefit you. And as in this case, in two situations, it actually resulted in the page dropping significantly in its positions.
Anybody else? Thank you, Tim. All right, and we're at that stage again. It's thank you for watching. I can see that we still have viewers watching, and we thank you for that. Your interest in what we do makes what we do worthwhile. We'll put a link on the SEO Questions community on Google+. I'll put a link which is directly into this Hangout. We'll be off the air in a few seconds, but please feel free to come and join us. We'd love to have a chat with you. But otherwise, we'll be back at the same time next week.